Here are the biggest cons of the Surnat S10-1 e-bike from my experience. A quick preview would be the main issues of long charging times, heavy weight, not being waterproof, the e-bike laws, and also the lack of rear and seat post suspension. Okay, I'm gonna break it down. Now, all of these cons, it doesn't make me not love the bike because I truly do love the bike. Everything that we have is always pros and cons to it. I'm just joining the e-bike gang, the e-bike lifestyle. So I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm loving it. But let's start off with our first con, which is going to be the long charging time. Now, granted that this battery is huge, I just wish manufacturers or e-bike companies would create a fast charging charger for the e-bike. Now, this particular battery is a 48 volt, 32 amp hour battery, and it takes roughly around 8 to 10 hours to charge. Now, when I'm doing my deliveries, I'll do a lunch shift. The battery goes down about two bars. If I'm doing a whole day, and it'll just go down to 1 bar. Now, granted, now putting it back on the charger to charge, and I mostly charge it during the day because I don't like doing it during like overnight because definitely you don't want any fires or anything, any safety hazards going on while I'm sleeping. But it takes 8 to 10 hours to charge. But guys, let me know down in the comment section if there's any fast charging chargers out there, because I am new to the e-bike and the bike lifestyle. So for sure, drop it down in the comment section if there are suggestions out there for charging the battery. Next, we're going to move on to our second con, which is the heavy weight of the bike. Now, this bike weighs 100 pounds. The bike without the battery is about like 82 to 83 pounds, right? Now, the battery alone is 20 pounds on its own. So, now you see where it adds up to 100 pounds. Now, for those that want to purchase an e-bike, I would suggest purchasing an e-bike if you're on the first floor, if you have a garage, because imagine if you're at an apartment complex and it doesn't have an elevator. That's one thing I forgot. Somewhere that has an elevator, a home that has a garage. And then if you're on the first floor of the apartment complex, it'll be easy for you to move it around, even though it's heavy. But now for those that are in apartment complexes, and now you have to go up the stairs because you do not have an elevator, that's going to be the most challenging part. Trying to lug a heavy e-bike, which is 100 pounds. Now, it'll be easier if you have somebody with you and the two of you are carrying it up the stairs. That would make much more sense. Now, also, for instance, if you have a foldable bike like I do, and you're folding it up and you want to put it on the back of your SUV, and you got to lift up 100 pounds just to put it into the back of the SUV or van, that's going to be challenging. I've heard complaints of people that people that live in campsites and they have heavy e-bikes. It's challenging to take it in and out, back and forth out of their vehicle, especially how heavy it is. Of course, e-bikes are heavier than regular bikes because of the design, because of the frame, the battery, and also the rear rack too. The rear rack, but as heavy as this e-bike is, it's challenging because after I'm doing my deliveries and I have a small step. It's about maybe 10, no, it's about like 7 to 8 steps to get up, and I'm doing it by myself too. As heavy as this e-bike is, it's challenging at times going up the stairs. So for those that want to purchase an e-bike, I'm not going to stop you from purchasing an e-bike, but this video is just to display the cons of having an e-bike. All right, the weight is something to consider when you're purchasing it. If you're having to carry it up and down the stairs, that's going to be one con that you'll get frustrated with over time. All right, trying to carry the e-bike up the stairs or loading it in and out your car, that's going to be very frustrating. All right, we're going to move on to our next con, which is going to be that my e-bike particularly, it is not waterproof, and it said it in big letters in the manual when I first got it, and I was a little disappointed. But it makes sense because of the safety hazard, the electrical systems and everything, the battery. There's no proper protection for it. But that con right there, which is the bike, the Surnat S10, it is not waterproof. But I'll tell you what, I've ridden over a couple puddles, and so far had no issues so far. But they said you cannot ride it out in the rain. You can't. It's a safety hazard. Not only for the electrical system, but the brakes. The brakes will get messed up too, which will cause a safety issue if you need to stop. It's going to be dangerous. I've heard people who've ridden e-bikes in the rain and they slipped and fall while riding. So that's another con. But I want to know if there's any waterproof e-bikes out there. If you guys know, just definitely drop it down in the comment section, because I'm definitely new to this journey and I want to learn as much as possible. But this bike particularly is not waterproof, and that's a con in my book, because I would love to do deliveries, right? I've done deliveries in the sun. I've done it when it's cloudy, but when it starts raining, it's gonna be a problem for me, because I won't be able to go out into the rain, and I don't have a car currently. This is my main mode of transportation, this e-bike, and I do love doing deliveries with it. But if it's a safety hazard, during the rain, then I'm definitely not gonna step out with the e-bike to do deliveries. And that's another con. That's the reason why I put it as a con, because it's not waterproof. So here in Miami, Florida, it rains here and there, but there's a particular season where it rains, and it's during hurricane season, which hurricane season starts June here in Florida, and it ends all the way to November. So that's a very, very long time. So I don't know how that's going to go as far as the hurricane season that's coming this year, 2025. But I'm just going to take advantage of the days where the weather is wonderful, and it's sunny, and it's partly cloudy out. But that it's a bummer. But I'm not discouraged by it either, because I could work around it. All of these cons, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's not gonna deter me from not loving the bike, because I still love it 100%. And I could also make some modifications as well through the process. And for sure, I will be documenting those modifications here on the channel. E-Drift Hustles. So the next con will be the e-bike laws. The e-bike laws, because there are 3 classes of e-bikes. And this one that I have is definitely it's class 3. It's class 3 e-bike. And for me, I'm still learning the laws and everything, but I just recently found out that this one can go 28 miles per hour. And it all depends on the person's body weight too, on how fast it goes. But I realized that this is a class 3. I was watching a YouTube video, and the guy that was speaking in it was very informative. I'm able to use the throttle up to 20 miles per hour, but if I want to get to that 28 miles per hour, it will have to be pedaling. So I would have to use the pedal assist. So that information I did not know about, but I'm glad that I did find out about it. But there's times where there'll be signs out. Of course, you could take the bike lane, you could take the sidewalks, you take the road. But I'm starting to see that there are certain parks. There are certain places that have the sign, no motor, no motor vehicles or no e-bikes or stuff like that, which sucks. Because if you have an e-bike and you don't have a regular bike, like you want to take the bike, the bike trails. So for anybody that's purchasing an e-bike, for sure, think about the body, the bike weight. Think about the bike weight when they're buying it. If you have an elevator, if you're on the first floor, if you have a garage, for sure, you could always purchase it. But if you have somewhere that you're staying and you don't have the end of an elevator and you got to carry the bike up, always think about that. And if you do purchase it, find a helping hand to help you bring it up and down the stairs too. Also, of course, waterproof, got to be careful. Of course, if you have an e-bike, you got to be careful when it's raining and pouring. You don't want no water damage to the e-bike. You don't want no safety issues as well. Going over puddles, riding in a heavy rain, because it's going to damage the bike, of course. But for sure, you got to think about your safety too when you're on the road. And then always educate yourself on the e-bike laws for the areas that you live at, as far as the e-bikes. This last con is going to be suspension. As you can see from this bike, it has a front suspension. It does not have a rear or a seat post suspension, which I will be upgrading to a seat post suspension very soon. That's going to be my next mod, because the oversized noseless bike seat is very comfortable for long rides too. But when I'm going over roads that are not smooth, or you go over certain potholes or things like that, you feel it. You definitely feel it in your rear end when you're riding. The seat is comfortable, but having a seat post suspension or rear suspension will make your rides very smoother. That's a con in my book, especially for this bike. But I work around it too. I do my best to avoid uneven roads, potholes, cracks on the floor. I do my best, but majority of these cons, again, it's not going to take away from my love of the bike, because I could make modifications here and there. My only thing is it's not waterproof, so I will have to think ahead, like how would I do deliveries without the e-bike when it comes to the hurricane season down here in Miami, Florida. So again, here are the cons. Do a quick recap. The first one is the long charging time. This particular bike takes 8 to 10 hours to charge. The weight of the bike is heavy, so if you're carrying it up the stairs, it's going to be challenging. Also, loading it in and out your car is going to be challenging. Also, that is not waterproof, so be careful. I normally see people, excuse me, pull over to the side or they find cover when it's raining. So definitely safety is always first. And I've heard that sometimes the wheel is slippery. So it all like if you're doing a sharp turn, like just be careful when you're out on the road. But safety is always first. The e-bike laws, of course, educate yourself through the e-bike laws of the area that you're living in. And for me, I haven't had any issues. I purchased this bike in the beginning of January. Purchased it in the beginning of January. I took a leap of faith, and I'm super excited because I've been riding it. I got 161 miles on it and counting too, because I'm gonna continue to ride it until the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off. I love it. I'm educating myself through the process while riding this e-bike. Like there's certain things that experiences that I go through, like the food delivery. That black bag on top was my very first delivery bag, and then something happened in which I was so new to doing e-bike deliveries that I've had big orders in which they couldn't fit in the bag, and I couldn't cancel it because I already accepted it and I already picked up the food. And all of a sudden, one of my big bags for a customer fell, and I was disappointed. But I've learned from that experience, and I just purchased this green one right here, which is super huge. I love it, and along with the seat too. The original seat was so uncomfortable. It took about 5 minutes in before your tailbone starts to hurt and is uncomfortable. Then it goes numb. But this seat right here is very good, very good too. So the cons, they don't really deter my decision. I don't regret buying this e-bike, and I love it. I'm gonna continue to love it. Also, I got a couple more content coming soon. For sure, stay tuned and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right.